Hello, everybody, and good morning. Good morning. It is time for Wow Wednesday. And I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm here with the fantastic Barbara Johnson, and we are going to have a great conversation. Make sure you stay with me all the time because we'll be here till 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And make sure you stay with me because Barbara has something really important for you to know about filing your taxes. That if you don't know it, it's going to cause you to get into some trouble. So we don't want that to happen. So stay with us. I am Trish Carr, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm sorry to be here for Nancy Matthews today because it's her birthday, and I was hoping to see her. But you know what? She woke up with laryngitis. So this thing is not working on her today. I guess that's because people are supposed to be giving her accolades all day and not her doing all the talking. So I'm happy to be here. Happy birthday, Nancy Matthews. And if you know her text number, go ahead and make sure you send her a happy birthday text today for sure. In the Women's Prosperity Network community, we are so excited to have you with us today because we do have an amazing guest. Before we get into our conversation today about what you need to know so that you can stop leaving profits on the table and handing them over to Uncle Sam, we want to make sure before we get going today that I wanted to say welcome to everybody in the community. And I wanted to remind everybody that this coming Saturday, we are getting together for our monthly brainstorming, breakthroughs, and brilliance. And we get together every fourth Saturday of the month to get together, get to know each other, have some conversation, and we talk about a topic that's important to you. In this case, the topic is going to be time. How do we get more of it? How do we make the most of what we have? So do join us. You can go to womensprosperityNetwork.com events, and you will be able to register right there. And what else? That's all I wanted to tell you right now. But let me tell you about my guest, Barbara Johnson. Barbara is a strategic accountant. Not only is she a strategic accountant, but she is someone who is heart-centered as well. She's actually an accountant who cares about you and what you want and what you're looking for in your business and in your life. So she works with you on what works for you so that you can take the numbers off your plate and she can take care of doing the tracking, the daily numbers watching, all of that stuff that I know you all love to do. So Barbara Johnson is also a Navy veteran. Barbara, thank you so much for putting yourself in that in the Navy. I mean, you put your life on hold so that you can make a difference for other people. Thank you for doing that. And let's get going because I want to know how I can keep more money in my pocket and less going to Uncle Sam. Now, I want Uncle Sam to get what he wants, but I want to make sure that I keep what I keep. So I'm thinking, Barbara, is this your busiest time of year right now?
It isn't yet. January 29th, the IRS starts taking tax returns in. So right now, everybody's gearing up for making sure their books are ready, making sure everything's situated, sending out all those 1099s and things like that. So it's getting ready. It's called gearing up for that busy time.
So when do you get really, really, really busy?
Um, Usually around mid-February, beginning of March.
Okay, so you can breathe for a little while longer.
A little bit. Uh,
Well, talk to me about, so this is a really important thing I want to get out. So if you have a paper and pencil, or if you can put your hand on the keyboard or get a pen or something, because Barbara called me a couple days ago and said, there's something I need to tell everybody about that is crucial to this year's taxes. And if you don't know about it, it might cause you some challenges. So before we get into profit first, and all the great information that you're going to share with people, especially right now. Tell us about this situation that we need to fill out some kind of a form, is it?
Yeah, it's a report. It's part of the Corporate Transparency Act. It's called the Beneficial Ownership Information Reporting. Basically, the Treasury Department is trying to make sure that there's no money laundering. And so every business, period, not big businesses, doesn't matter, big or small, every business that is in existence has to file this paperwork. The thing with it is if you don't file it timely, if you don't file it timely, there's a $500 a day penalty
Wait. $500 a day?
a day that it's late or not filed properly.
Okay,
And
so
so
is it
it's
something
big.
really simple I can do?
Well, it's not, I mean, it's not really simple. You,
Is anything simple that the US government wants us to do on our taxes?
yeah,
Can't they just make it easy?
not necessarily. There are some exemptions. Nonprofits don't have to file. And if you're make $5 million or more a year, you don't, because you're already covered under different agencies like that. But what it is there's a website to go to. It's they call it the FinCEN. It's a Department of the Treasury. It's FINCEN. What I want people to do is if they'll just reach out to me on my email. I was trying to get together a web page. I will tell you, I got sick yesterday and didn't get everything put onto the landing page. There's a lot that goes into it. You need to know not everybody in your business that has more than a 25% interest has to be put on this form with their driver's license and a bunch of information. So even if you just have a DBA, anything that you filed with the state, you have to file this with the federal government.
Okay, so you have to file this with the federal government and it has to be done by April 15th?
No, now here's this is the complication part. If you started your business before January 1st of 2024, you have until January 1st of 2025 to get it done. However, like I said, if you forget, $500 a day stacks up pretty quick. If you filed your business starting January 1st of 2024, you have 90 days in order to get it filed. Anybody that starts a business in 2025 will only have 30 days to get it filed.
Okay, so this year we have till the end of the year to do it.
Correct. Correct. So you have a little time to get it together. However, don't forget, because there's a huge stiff penalty on forgetting.
$500 a day.
A day.
A day.
Yeah,
You
it,
know,
it, it adds up to like $10,000 and 2 years in prison. And I mean, they've got some, they're trying to stop money laundering, and this is the way they're going to do it.
yeah.
Everything.
What's the name of the form?
It's the Beneficial Ownership Information Reporting Form. It's BOI.
Of course, BOI. All right, I put it in the chat for those of you who are asking about it.
Right.
And definitely be in touch with Barbara. I don't want to do any of those things. Like, I trust professionals to handle that stuff because I have enough deadlines. One of the other things that happens at the beginning of the year is I have to file my corporation papers, right?
Right.
So for me, it's the state of Florida. For wherever you are, it's whatever state you're in. The state of Florida, I think it's like $200 to renew.
Right.
And if you don't renew by, I think it's March 15th, it goes up to $400.
Yeah.
And then it goes up again and again and again. So don't get stuck with that either. So yeah, Barbara, I don't know how anybody keeps track of all this stuff, really and truly. For me, it's about trusting the people who take care of my books like you, the people who take care of my taxes like you. And yes, I need to know myself, right? Because it's me who's ultimately responsible. So thank you for sharing about the BOI because I would never have heard of that if it wasn't for you. So
Right.
I'll make sure I email you so we can get that taken care of.
That's good. Yes,
All right,
definitely.
perfect. Well, let's go ahead. I want to hear about profit first because you actually have an entire process that you know works
Mhm.
when you're looking at what your profits are. We have a tendency to look at how much revenue comes in, but we don't look at how much of that is profit after our costs, after our overhead. So talk a little bit about profit first for us.
Basically, profit first takes the takes the focus away from what income is coming in to actually giving yourself a profit every quarter, every year. So you're not just, constantly bringing in money and watching it go out as far as expenses. It actually helps you do a budget because you set up these different bank accounts, and one of them is your operating expense. And just like, when your bank account is empty, you shouldn't spend any more money. When your bank account is empty, you shouldn't spend any more money in your business too. However, what this system does is creates an account for taxes, an account where you're actually paying yourself, an account for profit, as well as the operating expense. And so you literally, when money comes in, separate it into these accounts. And I have a bank that I work with, but that profit first professionals work with, that actually does this all automatically. But we it separates it out for you, and then you can just look in that one account and go, okay, that's my money to work this month on. This is what I have in here. So it's kind of a budget system in in everything. So then at the end of the month, you look at what's in your owner's compensation, and you actually get to pay yourself monthly.
Paying myself. I didn't
Yeah,
start doing that till I was in business for about 5 years.
yeah. And then in the profit section, every quarter, you look at that and you actually get to take a profit every quarter out of your
That's
business.
really cool. So, Christy is asking, is it on an app or is it I mean, it's
No,
something I work with you and you show me how to do it, right?
it's something you do yourself. The only automation you can set up is if you use Relay Bank. They have an automation set up for you put in the percentages you want and it divides it automatically for you. But most of the time, you when the money comes in, you set a time frame like the 10th and the 25th of the month. You take whatever is in your income, in other words, all the money that's come in, you divide it among the accounts so that twice a month, everything is distributed and you know how much money you're working with.
What a concept, right?
So yeah,
Because so you work with small business owners and entrepreneurs. When people come to you to work with them on their books, are they usually like they got it all together? Like what's a
yeah.
typical small business owner doing to keep track of their budgets and their books based on what you see?
Most of the time, if they have a spreadsheet, they're doing really good.
I have a spreadsheet.
There you go. Most of the time, if they have a spreadsheet, they're doing really good. Most small business owners, as the money comes in, they spend it. They know they need something, they go buy it, and it's a constant paycheck to paycheck type of thing. So here they basically have made themselves a job. It's doing something they enjoy, but they've created a job for themselves. And so what I try and do is show them how with the profit first system, they can actually start making a profit and feeling like their business is going somewhere. And their business does go somewhere because they get more on that budget, more under control. They see more what their numbers are. So they know, oh wow, I'm spending way too much money on this and not enough on marketing. Marketing is something we underspend on most of the time.
Right, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing, as the money's coming in, we're also using that money to pay our mortgages, our rent, our electric, all of that stuff is also coming out of that same money. So I know that one of the things that you talk about is the importance of splitting your bank accounts. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because
Definitely.
I know it's not something that I did.
Definitely. The biggest thing is you need two separate bank accounts, one for your personal and one for your business, especially if you're like an LLC. Because LLCs give you a little bit of protection, but only if you don't spend from your business on your personal. If you do that even once, you've now breached that veil and you no longer have that limited liability protection. And if
So,
you're an S corporation,
yeah.
that's actually a really, really bad situation. You have to have a separate bank account for an S corporation because it's a separate entity. It's not even your business. You're an employee of the business at that point.
Okay, so the downside of having the bank commingled is that you've just what they say, and I see Nellie, who is also an IRS auditor from
Yes.
in her past. Nellie said something, thank you about that form because it's a nightmare. She's basically, but if you have your accounts commingled and something happens and someone holds you responsible for something, you've now lost the protection of being a corporation, and now I can be sued as an individual. Is that
Now
what you're
what
saying?
happens is when they sue your LLC, which is limited liability company, they also can attack your personal assets. So if they sue your business for something that you did wrong or they think you did wrong, they can go after your house, they can go after your car, they can go after any of that. Whereas if you've kept things separate and kept that, there's a limited liability to it. That they can only hold you liable up to the assets in the business and a reasonable portion. They can't
Hmm.
just go after everything.
So let's just keep it separate and pay ourselves first. So
Right.
how do I pay myself when I don't think I have enough money to pay myself? I'm just covering the bills. And how do I pay myself when I do have the money in there? What's the
Oh,
process I go through for that?
one of the first things I do with a lot of my clients that first come to me is we start looking at a budget and start looking at, okay, what expenses do you have? What expenses are don't ever get rid of? What expenses are okay? Do you really need that Starbucks cup of coffee every morning, or can you make your own? You know, but it comes to what expenses you're actually uh, needing versus wanting, and then creating that budget so that you can start living within that percentage. And we usually set up the operating expense for your business to be a little higher than optimal, and your income is small to begin with.
So I would look at what I'm paying for rent, if there is any,
Right.
liability insurance for my business. How about my insurance? Does my personal life insurance cover?
Not your life insurance, but your health insurance.
Okay, okay. And then how do I find profit so that I can
Well,
actually pay
here's the
myself?
thing.
I mean,
You
it
you
sounds
pay
great.
yourself a
Pay
profit.
yourself.
Right. You pay yourself profit. So say you make $100 sale, right? And you know you've got expenses. We understand that. You're going to pay yourself $10 of it, right? You're going to put a profit of $1 sets aside in the bank account, and then you're going to set aside taxes for a small amount, usually around $5, because you've got to put estimated taxes away. It won't
Right.
be as much because you've got more expenses and stuff to balance it. Then the rest you use for operating expense.
So,
Operating expense can be Women's Prosperity Network. That's a professional coaching that counts as an operating expense. And so you have that extra money. Now, as we get things under control, you slowly back it down to you're using less for operating expense. The tax doesn't change much. You pay yourself a little bit more and you put a little bit more in profit. It takes time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. But eventually you start getting to where you start seeing that profit add up.
so in the profit first system, you'll show me how much money I should take out of each $100 and where the buckets I put it in. And that if I And it sounds reasonable that if I do it up front, I'll actually do it.
Right.
Yeah, but if
Right.
the money all goes into this commingled account, I have money. What can I buy? Oh, Amazon. What
Right.
can I buy on Amazon now? Right?
Yeah.
Um, Rita is writing in the chat. She says, I have profit for the first time in 15 years actually showing in a bank account
Yeah.
because she's worked with you on Profit First.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
something to be said for having a bank account that simply says
Profit.
profit.
Right. It's
Because
it's
then
really
you,
good.
yeah, you feel like you have success. So
Right.
we always goof around here at Women's Prosperity Network that the money goes into a black hole, right? It just keeps going in, and the next thing you know, it's out. But to have a separate bank account with this is my profit, and and that's the money. Now, do I pay myself out of my profit, or I
No.
pay
Well, no.
myself out of
You
my
you have a
revenue?
you have a you have a you have a owner's compensation account. That's your pay. So you're paying yourself that. And then once a quarter. Now this is the first time I did Profit First. Okay, so I have a funny story. I wasn't making a lot of money. All right. I was just getting started and I set up the Profit First. And my first quarter, you get every quarter you get to take half of what's in the profit account out, and you're supposed to do something fun with it, not business related, just something completely fun. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I get to take my profit. I get $15. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to Starbucks. For a whole quarter I hadn't had Starbucks, and I was addicted to it before that. But I took the $15, I went to Starbucks, and I was like, this is the profit of my business. And it sounds funny, but knowing that my business made me this profit to be able to buy this Starbucks cup of coffee was, I mean, it was the greatest feeling in the world to me. I was like, yes, I did something.
Yes. And when you watch it grow, you want to make more of it.
Right.
So even, it's funny, one of my mentors early on, we were talking about budgeting. And we were talking about cutting down on the coffee and cutting down on those extra things. And she looked at me and she said, Trish, you don't have to stop drinking Starbucks. You just have to earn more money.
Right.
It's totally a different way to think, right? We think, oh, I have to cut this and I have to cut that because I can't afford it. First of all, I can't afford it. Four most dangerous words in the language, right? It's
Right.
so not true. It's a lie. We can afford whatever we want. If I had a BMW outside and that was your perfect car, and I said, Barbara, I got a BMW and it's only $3,000, wouldn't you find $3,000?
Definitely.
Exactly. So we choose what we're going to spend our money on, but I think that's a fundamental shift from thinking like small
Mhm.
to thinking abundance. I only have to earn more money. I only need one more client to be able to go on that cruise. I only need one more client to do my kitchen, right? Whatever it is you're working on, just earn more. I
Right.
know that sounds so simple, but Barbara, that's really what you do with people is you show them their money so they can actually get a real view of it to know, okay, well, I want to earn more because I want to be able to do more.
Right.
And how does forecasting and budgeting and looking forward, how do you find that actually working and people seeing their money and actually making more of it because they now see what's happening?
You'd be surprised at how many entrepreneurs don't know what bills come out monthly. They sign up for programs, they have software, and it's all great, but it just keeps coming out. And so they all of a sudden now they're spending as much as they're making, which is typical human behavior. It happens.
Yeah, when the money goes in, I see it, Amazon or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. And
Yeah.
so what happens with this budgeting and the forecasting is you get to see where the money is going. And we do this monthly. So you see, okay, this is the money you made. You made good money, but you spent it all on marketing or software or Now,
Or
marketing is not a bad thing to spend things on, don't get me wrong, but some people spend more money on marketing and it's the wrong type. And so we have to look at that. And so we do look at that.
yeah,
Okay, we
marketing. The
you
other thing people spend money on is trainings.
right.
Find a
Yes,
lot of that.
right. A ton of trainings. You've spent $20,000 on trainings and you've made $2,000. Probably not the best thing. Let's start using that training. Now that you've got it, that's great. Now get those clients because you've trained yourself. Now let's start training other people. Let's start getting other people to learn and move forward.
And when you have a budget, you won't overbuy because you'll know this is my marketing budget, this is my training budget, this is my coaching budget, this is my budget for product
Right,
creation,
right.
right?
And
So
so
you
have
know what you're spending.
right. And once you know that that's what you have available, then again, you spend what you have, but you don't go over it because you're constantly knowing those numbers. And I think the biggest power most of the people I work with, I think it's almost all the people I work with, is knowing what those numbers are.
Yeah,
Because once you know where you're at, you can improve on it because everybody knows how to improve. It's a matter of knowing they need to improve and not just, well, I know as soon as I get money in, it goes out. Okay, well, that doesn't tell you where you need to improve. If you can identify where those little loopholes are. And so we go through that. We say, okay, this is where you spend the money. What can we do to make that more effective or, a better choice?
yeah.
You know?
Well, tell us about, if you would, profit first, because even, I mean, I know about the process, but I don't really know how it works. And I know that you show people how to do profit first,
Right.
how to put your money in the right bank accounts in the right way. So tell us a little bit about that and
Certainly.
how we can be a part of it.
Definitely. I have a master class that I give once a quarter. It's the Profit First Master Class. And with this, um, basically, I teach you how to set up the different bank accounts, the income account, owner's compensation, the profit, and the tax account. And some people have a tithe account, um, depending on how you want to set those up. But you set up those accounts, and we set up those percentages. So we look at in this class, we go through, and I talk to you how to find the percentages that you need to start with. And we discuss what it all involves and what each account is for and how to move forward with that so that you have that starting basis. And I help you get those set up. It's an hour and a half long. This one is coming up is on February 7th at 12:30 Eastern. And right now I've got it on special for my WPN sisters for $27.
Yay.
So it's a good way to do things. I do try and meet with everybody individually afterwards so that we can look at their specific situation, although there is a question and answer time in order to get things set up.
So I just put the link in the chat and I'll do the same thing on Facebook as well. So it's an hour and a half. And in that hour and a half, I'm going to learn how I can pay myself
Right?
so that I actually have money going into my pay me bank account and I'm not just stealing out of my business account because that's really what I'm doing. Like, let
Right.
me go into the business and get some money. You're actually embezzling your own money if you think about it like that.
Yeah.
But that in and of itself, like just learning how do I pay myself? Because I know that that was a big challenge when
Right.
I first got started as an entrepreneur. I was doing all the things you're saying not to do. I put everything in the same bank account. In fact, when I financed my house, I said I pay everything out of my corporate account. And they said, fine, just give me your corporate account. That's all we need to see. Nobody ever said, don't do that, Trish.
Right.
Right? So at Profit First, it's only $27, and you said the next one is February 7th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
Definitely.
fantastic. Well, I put the link in the chat,
Right.
and I also put it on the Facebook page. Nellie Williams, it's so great to have you here because you're adding such great value here. You said, remember, as a self-employed business owner, there will be a tax responsibility on your profits.
Right. No, that's
So
why we
help me
have
with that. What does
tax.
that mean?
That's why we have that tax account. Because basically when you do your income tax, you end up owing a tax on what money you made over and above your expenses.
Ah,
And
okay.
so that's why we have that tax account so that you're still paying those taxes. We make sure it's not a surprise at the end of the year that you're making those estimated tax payments that the IRS wants. And so,
Exactly. And
yeah,
what Nellie is saying and what you're saying is it's not that you're going to pay more tax because now you have a profit account.
right,
Now you're just going to see how the taxes are actually being charged to you. So if you
correct.
make $100 extra profit, you would have still had that on your taxes next year, only it just would have been total income minus costs and
Right.
expenses.
It still works out the same, except with the profit first system, you've got the tax account sitting there saying you have the money already. So it's
Yeah.
not like, oh my gosh, I've got to come up with $1,000 today.
Yeah, yeah, good, very good. Well, I know there's going to be bunches of questions. So if you have a question and take advantage, Barbara's here, ask the questions.
Definitely.
If you have a question, just go ahead and raise your hand. If you're on your computer or the Zoom app, if you're on the telephone, just hit *6 and that'll open your line. Let me start with Dr. Roz. Dr. Roz, good
Hey,
morning.
hey, hey, hey.
Hey, how are
Happy New
you?
Year, because I haven't seen y'all. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Happy New Year, my
Good.
friend.
Okay.
Miss Barb, you're good. Let me tell you something. Something was said the last time, and I was like, I ran scared, but I'm not gonna run scared this time, even though you told us about that BOI. But I just want to say you're loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished. One of the services, since you do the taxes, if the person has not done the proper things, do you do an assessment of how their business structure is? Is that a service that you do, or do you have an affiliate partner or somebody who can help to make sure all of that is correct?
I actually, I mean, I do look at business structure and go through what's actually happening in the business. That's one of the first things I do, especially when I take on a new client. But
Okay.
I can offer it as a separate service,
Okay.
um, in order to just do that evaluation
Okay. Good deal.
and look at things.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. I'll see you on February 7th. And to all of you, thank you. Trish the Dish, is so good to see you. And Nancy
You
Matthew,
too.
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Love you, Nance.
Oh, that's so beautiful. What a beautiful voice you have, Dr. Roz. Thank you so much. All right, great. That was a great question. All right, let me go to Rita, your funnel godmother. Rita, your line should be open. There you go.
And I am here. Hello, Barbara and everyone. I cannot tell you, I really cannot describe the amount of peace of mind that I have from working with Barbara. First of all, she's just a delight. She has the perfect mix of friendly, good personality, and firm. Listen, let's get on track. I need this. I need this from you. And so our meetings go wonderfully every time I'm with her, and I feel empowered. And, there is something to say for having boundaries and staying inside your own boundaries, and it makes you feel good to know that you are on track and you're not going to get the knock on the door from the IRS. And even if you do, you're going to be like, oh, sure, no problem. I know I have someone that handles that for me, and I know my books are in order.
Right.
So, gosh, I've been saying a whole bunch of stuff in the chat. Profit First is amazing. And Barbara, again, she will just walk you right through it. It may sound intimidating or confusing. It's absolutely not. Money comes into my business. I don't even touch it. It gets split out into these accounts based on the percentages that Barbara and I established, and you can change them anytime you want. So when I want to buy something like a coaching program from WPN or something like that, then I go and I look. Oh, so what do I have? Now I have two extra accounts that she didn't mention. I pay a lot of things online automatically. And so I have my money going into that account. I know how much it's going to come out every month. So all my automatic stuff goes out of one account. And when I have to buy office supplies or something like that, that comes out of a different operating expense account. The other one I have that she didn't mention is when I have to pay affiliates, then I have a separate account to build that money up because I may pay them quarterly. So I want that money sitting there when it's the quarter time to pay that affiliate. I want that money there instead of trying to pull it out of a different account.
Yeah, the only account that I have.
Chris,
I was a landlord. Nancy and I used to, actually before Women's Prosperity Network, we used to teach real estate, flipping and houses and things like that. And as a landlord, people would give me a deposit and I'd have to be ready to give it back a year from now. And the biggest mistake I made was commingling that money with my money so that when I had to come up with a $2,000 deposit to pay them back, I was like, where am I supposed to get that from? So how many different accounts? It sounds like, I got to be honest, it sounds like you're juggling several accounts. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's different accounts. And like with Rita, there's some people, they know exactly this amount is coming each month as an automatic debit. And so what we did with Rita was set up an account for those automatic debits. So as the money comes in, it gets separated out into two different operating expense accounts. One for those automatic payments and one so that all she has to do, instead of looking and going, okay, I know I have Zoom coming out. I know I have an automatic payment to keep coming out. So I have to subtract that out. So I only have this amount of money, coming into the bank account. She goes, okay, that's all in this automatic account. What I know is this is how much I can spend because I want to buy something, training, or I need toner for my printer or whatever. So she goes to the operating expense for that type of one-off expense.
So you know what, Barbara, and I'm going to ask Rita. Rita, it actually sounds like it's simplified things for you.
oh my gosh, yes. And here's the thing. It also builds boundaries in for me, and I can say, no, I'm not going to do that training right now, or I'm not going to buy two toners because they're on sale. I'm only going to buy one because I see how much money I have to spend. And like, I might open my Relay bank account and there'd be like $3,000 or $4,000 as a total amount of money in there. And there's like $175 in the account where I get to spend money.
Gotcha.
Because the tax money is not mine. That's the government's money. The profit, I'm not touching that.
Right.
My owner pay is gonna come to me, but that's for my household. That's for me and my life and my household. That's my owner pay. And I'm not going to touch that automatic payments or my affiliate money. The only money that I touch is in my operating expense. And if I want more money in there, guess what I have to do?
Earn more money.
Earn more money. That's right.
And it really helps us to see where is our money going,
Absolutely.
right? It's where is our money going? And I know for me, most of the time, I've never had a budget. Now I have a budget and I know what goes where. But for my personal life, this is what I bring in, this is what goes out. This sounds so much simpler than trying to figure everything out. And you know right away how much your money you have. Thank you so much, Rita, for sharing that. Because it can sound like, wow, I have to juggle all these accounts. No, it's so easy and it's so much easier. And even setting it up isn't a big deal because your bank loves when you have accounts with them. They love it. So Mary Jane, I saw that you raised your hand a little earlier. Let me go ahead and unmute you, and I'd love to hear your question. If you're still there.
I'm here. No, I just wanted to say it's a delight to work with Barbara. I came out of a panicked state, half mind, half situation. And she's just as calm as she is right now. She's like, take a breath. And so you start to breathe again. And the reassurance, no matter what your business is doing, you'll be fine. You're making money. I'm like, I am. I mean, I have to, hey, to hear those words are enormous when you can actually rely upon somebody else to tell you that. So She's excellent, and you will sleep. You won't worry about this particular thing anymore. She
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Jane, was it easy for you to set up the different buckets?
I haven't reached that point. I did in my own way. I know exactly where my money is going. I did not go to the Relay Bank because I still don't think I'm making enough money to do that. So, but in my own little way, I'm much more on track. There is an absolute business account. I did have that. I did have business and personal. I knew that much being a
Good.
bookkeeper. And so it just reinforced it. And there's like an electric fence there in your brain. You just don't use it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Mary Jane, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
you. Rose was asking about how long is the class? I know it's on February 7th. It's at 12 Eastern. And how long
12:30.
does it run?
It's at 12:30 Eastern and it runs for 90 minutes, an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
somebody said the link said February 2nd at 12, and I'm like, okay, I need to get that fixed because the thank you should say the 7th at 12:30. So it is the 7th at 12:30.
yeah. And I think she actually said the website's right, but the confirmation came back with February 2nd. So
Right. So I have to fix the
yeah,
confirmations.
if that happens, Barbara's going to fix the confirmation. So no worries about that, really. And you talked about a bank, that there's a particular bank you recommend working with online.
Absolutely. I use Relay Bank because they partnered with the Profit First system. They allow you, okay, you can keep no money in it and they don't charge you for it. You can have up to 20 bank accounts, checking accounts, and 2 savings accounts. And they're very friendly, and they have a system where you can set up the automation of the money comes into this account, and overnight it separates it into the other accounts to make it nice and simple. So they do that automatically for you, and you set those percentages based on what you want happening for your business for those Profit First percentages.
Okay, great. Christy has a question. She says she's a newbie starting out in her writing business.
Uh-huh.
Am I too green to enroll in this class? Do I need to have
Oh, no.
income through my business, or if I'm just getting started, tell me.
I will tell you the best thing is to enroll in this class now, because the sooner you get it started, the better you have a chance of keeping it. If I would have started this when I first started business, I would have been much profitable much sooner. Because if you get it set up and you have those boundaries in place, you start seeing, okay, I only have this much to spend on other things, and you limit yourself. It works as a budget.
Yeah, everybody in the chat saying the sooner the better. It's foundational. Come on in. Come on in. And Rose says, I'm in. And April just said, it sounds like laying a foundation first before building the penthouse.
Right. That's what you want to do.
Yeah,
If you have that foundation, then as you build that penthouse, it stands firm because everything's in place as you move up.
yeah. That's really key. No matter how long you've been in business, you can always learn something new, a new hack, a new way. And this way really works for so many people. So I'm so glad that you do this. One of the other questions we had was, what if I can't make it on the 7th? Can I get a replay? Do you do these often? Tell
I
us
do
more.
I do them once a quarter because I have 3 different classes that I offer throughout the quarter. But I do the Profit First class once a quarter. I do offer a replay to those who can't make it. The only reason I really encourage attending live is because that's where you're gonna set your percentages. That you can't ask questions if you're not there. It
Right.
makes
It's
it very hard.
great to be able to ask questions because I know that you're talking with a group of people in the master class, but everybody gets a chance to ask questions so that you can actually drill down on your personal situation because there are definitely differences. So yes, if you can be there live, great, because it'll give you the opportunity to ask questions. If you can't be there live, you'll still get a replay.
Right.
So, all right, great. I see that 301-247, your line is open. Do you have a question for Barbara Johnson?
I do. I
Oh,
sure
who's
do. Hi,
that?
Tricia. Jane. Hi, Barbara. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I have been working with Barbara for, I think, about a year and a half now on Profit First. You know, it's interesting. I had read the Profit First book by Mike Michalowicz probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I loved the concept. But what I really loved once I started working with Barbara is that she knows how to put the plan into action. When I read the book, I wanted to do it, but I didn't know where to turn and where to start. And now that I'm a year and a half into it, I can definitely see the growth in my accounts when it gets to be the quarter and I have money in my profit account and can take 50% of that out and do something special for myself. It's really a nice reward for the hard work we've put in. And if I didn't have this structure in place, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I highly recommend Barbara's masterclass. As everybody's been saying, she's, very forthcoming. She kindly puts you in the track of, this is what you agreed to do. Let's do it. This is how we're going to get there. And I love how my money comes into the income and then the next day it's distributed into all the buckets. And I have a philanthropy. One of the buckets is my philanthropy or my tithing. And when it gets to a certain amount, I'm like, oh, good, I can make a gift to a charitable organization that I am fond of and like to contribute to. And that's another way to, just sort of boost our energy and make us feel good about the business we're doing and how we're helping others. So thank you, Barbara, for putting the plan into action. I love Relay Bank. Seeing all the money in the different buckets and watching them grow is really wonderful. And then being able to make a decision about whether I can make the investment based on what's in my operating account or not. One thing I learned from this conversation is what Rita said about having 2 operating accounts. I think I need to set up a second operating account so that my automatic debits are in one place and the other operating is in another. But highly, highly recommend Barbara's class and Relay Bank and putting all of this great practice into practice so that we can do better in the world.
That's cool. The nice thing about the system.
Hi, this is Robin Johnson.
Oh, wait, Robin, can you hold for 1 second? I'll come to you in a minute.
Oh, okay, great. Very, very, very good.
Go ahead, Barbara.
I was going to say, the nice thing that Peg just pointed out about the system is it's flexible. If you decide after a while, okay, now I need to have that automatic payment account for an operating expense, you just add it, especially with Relay Bank. You just add the account. We change the percentages so that it separates the money out the way it needs to be, and you keep going forward. So it's very easy to modify it as needed as you grow.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Peg.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, you're so welcome. All right. It went out of my head. Who was that who had another question? Go ahead and open up. There you go. Go ahead. Who was that?
Was that Robin? Me, Robin?
Yeah, Robin. Sorry, I was going to say
okay.
Rhonda, and I knew I didn't have it right. Go ahead, Robin.
So I'm on the phone, and so I can't see the link. Can you say what the link is?
You know what? You are the smartest woman in the world for saying that. Yes, the link is tinyurl.com/profit first MC, which stands for masterclass. tinyurl.com/profit first MC.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Robin, thank you so much. I'm so glad you said that. That was a duh moment, wasn't it? Thank you so much. All right, I see that I have someone in the 301-704. Go ahead and open up your line. You have a question? 301-704-5230. All right, let me go to 720.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, there you go. 301-704. Who's that?
That's me. That's Debbie. Debbie Keaton. It's been a while, everyone. Good morning.
Hi,
I'm so
Debbie.
glad
Welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks, from Silver Spring, Maryland.
And
Got a
what's your
lot of snow
question?
on the ground.
Yeah, a lot of snow
Yeah.
in Maryland. The East Coast has gotten hit pretty good. What's your
It's pretty to
question
look at. Yeah,
for
very
Barbara?
quick question, actually. Yes, I think in a way it was answered. My question was, I already have my business account separated from my personal account, and actually I've been in business for, let's see, since 2011. I'm a wedding officiant. It's a wedding officiant business. Um, I had one question that's probably off topic. I'll do the first one first. Thanks, Barbara, for saying you use Relay Bank, because the bank that I have, there's an additional fee, as you have these different accounts.
Right.
And so that was my concern. How do I manage all of these different accounts if I set them up? But I'm thrilled to hear from everyone and from you that Relay will kind of take that burden off, and you can do it without that additional pressure, of having to pay these additional fees. Then the second thing is, and this is totally off topic, but I've heard something coming down the pipeline for businesses from the IRS that you're going to have to fill out some kind of form and send it in, and some kind of credentials that you have to provide to them. Do you know anything about that?
That's the beneficial owner information reporting. And
Yes.
I talked about that at the beginning. It's a requirement of every single business. It's not actually going to the IRS, but it is going to the Treasury Department, a department of the Treasury Department. It's kind of the sister of the IRS. They work together. I have a website I'll be putting up about that, but if you email me, I will get information to you. I'm actually offering a special deal to help people do it as well. Because I know right now there's people offering anywhere between $60 and $200 to do this. But if you email me at barbara.johnson at KISBAA.com, that's keeping it straight, bookkeeping and accounting, KISBAA.com. I can get you that information and let you see the link when it's there. There's exemptions, but I'm 90% sure most of the businesses in WPN don't qualify them, because they're all things like securities and exchange commissions and nonprofits, although we do have some nonprofits, businesses that make over $5 million in a year. Those that are already
Right. So the easiest thing would be to, and this is for everybody, Rose, I see you want that too. Easiest thing is to go ahead and email Barbara, because she's working on the landing page, so she doesn't have a URL right now.
right.
But the BOI form is the one we're talking about, and it is required for you to file it, and Barbara can help you with it. So if you go to email her, just put in the subject line, B as in boy, O as in operate, I as in I'm really great, BOI form. Her email is barbara.johnson, and it's Barbara the standard way, BARBARA, Johnson.
Right.
And it's at a short business name, KIS as in Sam, B as in Bob, AA.com. So it's kissba.com, Barbara.Johnson at kissba.com. If you remember the lamb, you'll always remember it's two A's for sure.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
You are
And
so
I'm sorry
welcome.
I came on late. I'm sorry I caused you to have to go back, but I really
I'm
appreciate it.
so glad that you did, because everybody needed to hear about the BOI, because every one of us has to file it, and most of us have never even heard of it. So thank you so much for bringing it up.
Great. Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Glad to do it.
Wonderful.
I will say at the Profit First Masterclass, I give out the link to sign up for Relay Bank, so that you can actually get in, and if you want to, I help you set up accounts and everything with Relay Bank if you want to use that, to make it easy for you. And as far as the BOI, I will have that landing page up, and if you email me, I definitely will get back to you. I spent all day Thursday last week doing classes on what is required, what is needed, who has to do it. So
Yeah. You learning. That's, yeah, all those hours. All right, I have one more person who has a question, and that's someone on the 720 area code 348. Go ahead and open up your line. 720.
Yes, this is Anna Brooks.
Hey, Anna Brooks. Good morning.
Good morning. What a great call and very timely. You would think that the federal government would know who all is registered as a business or has filed taxes as a business and would have sent us a copy of the form. But I learned that the form was only available as of January 1st. So very timely information. Spread it to your friends. Barbara, I'm signed up for February 7th. What you're doing is a multi-million-dollar habit. It's another multimillionaire's habit, and outstanding. You don't change overnight. You do it in little steps, and we're getting enough multimillionaires in the WPN network that those little habits can change lives. And as I tell everyone, we're out there to make you millionaires. We want to help you be there, but you've got to be willing to do the little steps that make for the big results. Thank you, Barbara. I'll see you on the 7th.
Thanks. See you on the 7th. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Anna. That's great. All right, I have one more person. Can we take one more question, Barbara, before we go?
Yes, definitely.
And that would be from April H. April.
Morning. Thank you
Good
so
morning.
much for this.
You're so welcome. So glad you could be here.
I have a question. If you buy a business, what happens to the old owner's bank accounts for the business? Do they have to close them out? Do you just take them over?
It depends on what type of business it is.
I'm looking to purchase a spa and wellness center.
Well, is it a corporation? Is it set up as if it's set up as an LLC? No, they have to close that out. You open a new one. If it's set up as a corporation, the business itself owns those bank accounts. And then also it depends on your contracts, how you have it set up, the money that's in the operating accounts and stuff for the business. Sometimes the previous owners walk away with that. And so, yeah, you might as well open your own bank account. Other times it all depends on the legal, and I'm not an attorney, so please don't, I've seen it go many different ways. And this is all between the attorneys talking to each other and the owners talking to each other, as to what happens with those bank accounts.
So the simple answer is if it's a corporation, meaning that it ends with an Inc. or a corp, the business owns those bank accounts. If it's an individual owns those bank accounts.
Right. But again, it's the legal contract that sets what happens to those
Absolutely.
bank accounts.
Yeah.
Okay. So my friend and I are saving up money to buy a business, and that might take 2 years, 2.5 years. I don't know. Do you do consulting and advising on? Okay, great. Are you in Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I feel like I just hit the jackpot.
You did. And it's Barbara Johnson. It's not just anybody. It's Barbara Johnson, the strategic accountant.
Thank you so
in Orlando.
much.
So make sure, April, I put Barbara's email addresses in there, barbara.johnson@kizba.com. So just drop her an email and set up a time for you all to talk.
Yeah,
okay, so we'll be able to talk on the 7th because I signed up for the masterclass.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you, April. That was a great question. It's something we should all be thinking about. What am I doing with this business? Am I selling it? What am I doing with it?
Right.
So that's another thing you'll definitely want to talk to Barbara about, is how do you figure out what exactly you have to do to be selling or to pass it on to your children or whatever it is you're going to do. So Barbara Johnson, gosh, you made money so much fun today.
Cool. That's a good thing. Thank you. Thank you.
I love the idea. Pay yourself first, profit first. The masterclass is on February 7th.
Right.
You can go to the website and be sure to register. I'll tell you what that website is one more time. It is tinyurl.com/profit first MC. And we look forward to seeing you on the 7th. Barbara, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been great. It's been a lot of fun.
Been great for all of us. Thank you all for being here. Happy birthday to Nancy Matthews,
Happy
our
birthday,
visionary
Nancy.
with guts. Hopefully she will get her voice back today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You don't sound terrible. I hope
No, I'm just a little squeaky.
it doesn't hurt though, right?
No.
Good. Very good. Well, I hope you make the most of your birthday.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Barbara and Trish.
Thank you. And thanks for being with us, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic Wow Wednesday. Look forward to seeing you Saturday at the Mastermind. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Take care.